Hello and welcome to Scalemodeling. Welcome to part 10 of our 1/200 scale Yamato build. And if this is the first time watching, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell and hit all so you get notified of each time the latest update video goes up. Also, don't forget to comment below. Your comments are welcome, and give us a thumbs up at the end. Okay, so now in the last video I mentioned that I'm going to go through and put all the little pieces on here that need placing, working through from step, I think it's 25, where we did the bit on the foredeck, but we needed to do the other bits we'd left off because the wooden deck needed to go down. So step 25 and 27, okay? And for those are the bollards. So we got some bollards to go on here and down the other end as well. And that will be all of those, and there they are there. And then we've got the break wall here for the water on the deck. We've got this piece which sits in here, and there's a couple little extended pieces on the outside that go in. Also, we've got the a couple, I think it's four more of those cleats that sit on the edge of the deck. You saw them where I put them on the stern and on the foredeck. They need to go on after this is actually attached down onto the hull because they hang over the edge. So what I'm doing is I'm using some wooden chopsticks here and some blue tack, and that's how I'm going to hold them all down as I paint them. Okay, so I will undercoat them in the Outlaw Paints primer, and then I'll go over them. Primer takes literally, in this hot weather, half an hour to dry, and then go over them with the grey, and then they can go on the deck. So that'll be that done. Then I'll be moving on to all the ammunition crates and all the other storage crates that go around on the deck. Now, I've come across a bit of a problem, and something that's worth noting. There, at least at this point, as far as I can tell, there's one area where they asked me to drill 4 holes in the deck. Like we've done all our holes under here. See where I've marked them all. All those holes are done. Now, there was a spot here, I think it's just here actually, where they wanted, it is here, 4 here and 4 drilled over there. When I went further on through the instructions into step 28 now, where you actually put all those crates down, only 2 crates go there. Okay, so unfortunately I've got 2 extra holes drilled there that I didn't need to drill. I'll see what happens. If I've got any of the crates left over, I'll put them in there. Otherwise, that's a shame that I've had to drill 2 extra holes. Let's hope all the rest of them are accurate as I go. All right, guys, so I will get these painted, and then I'll go on and start doing those crates. It's all little fiddly bits at the moment, and so I think we'll just come back when they're on. It's nothing difficult about it. The tricky part is these little ammunition boxes, or I'm not sure what they're actually, storage boxes we'll call them. There's a lot of them. There's 2 different sizes, and they're both very small. So again, I'm going to have to get them all painted up and then get them all positioned. All right, so when we come back next time, I will have these painted and on, and hopefully those boxes all in their positions where I've drilled all the holes. Okay, so back shortly in your time. One more thing I wanted to show you is I've sprayed the whole hull in a clear coat. I did it in the Tamiya TS80. That's flat clear, and it come up absolutely beautiful. So I'll put some photos up there, some sort of before and after shots of it out on the balcony, and really evened out that paintwork beautifully. So it looks really nice and tidy now. So yeah, come up great. I'm really happy with that. Okay, I'll get back to it. I'll be back shortly. Hello, welcome back. So where am I? What am I doing? Like I said, I bring you back when I was going to have all these boxes on here, but it's not that simple. First of all, I'll just show you. I've got the breakwater on. That's gone on really nicely. It looks pretty good. Okay. Now I'm doing those boxes, but I just wanted to show you that one there. I just fitted that in. That took me about 12 minutes because even though the hole is the right size and it'll pop in there no problem, when you're putting it through a wood deck where it's sort of, the drill bit didn't leave a nice round hole, it's sort of splintered it upwards like this. So there's no really nice neat hole in there. So I need to actually get in there. I've got an old bent airbrush needle that I've tried to clear the hole out. Then I got in there with a knife carefully and got around the hole. And then I even, at the bottom of where there's pins on the bottom of each of these containers, I've just sort of squared it off a bit or narrowed it into a point so to at least line up and then push it in. That took 15 minutes. I reckon when I get after a bit of practice, I'll take about 10 minutes each. There's 18 of them, so that's going to be 18 times 10. That's it's going to be about 2.5 hours to simply put these 18 little boxes on the deck. So, you ready? No, I'm just joking. I wouldn't force you to watch through all of that, not even a time lapse. Okay, so it's 10:30 in the morning here. I'll try and have this done by lunchtime with my coffee breaks in between, of course. So, yeah, these are little monotonous things and you've got to go through. You might have noticed I also have a staircase in there as well, ladder. That's for the hangar bay to go on the stern of the ship. I can pop that in later. Yeah, that's it. So, like I said, I'll get back when these are on, and hooray. Okay, back shortly in your time, back in a couple of hours my time. Hey, welcome back again. As you can see, I've got these ones on. They're all the Q4s, all right, Q4. Now, I mentioned before about being too many holes. They want me to put 4 holes when there's only 2 items to go there. That's my mistake. What I didn't realise was that the Q3 parts, which go in the rest of these holes here, actually have 2 little prongs on them, whereas all these ones only had single prongs. So obviously 2 is for 1, 2 holes for 1. So 4 holes is for 2. Didn't realise that. I just looked and thought, oh, you know. So yeah, they all have 2 little prongs to go in the 2 holes. So yeah. Anyway, I'll keep going. I've actually got all those in now, and I have to cut all the Q3s now, the double pronged ones, off the sprue. Work out how many I need, and I have to paint them up and everything. So I won't bore you with all that. We'll come back when I've got a bit more progress. Okay. So yeah, correction there. That wasn't the wrong number of holes. It's correct. Okay, back shortly. Okay, hello, welcome back. So a day has gone past, but I've finished everything on that deck that needs to be put on. So we've got all those boxes are on, both sizes, the Q3s and the Q4s. They all went on fine. And we'll just have a look along the deck here and you can see. So we've got from the front here, the breakwater and a few of the bits and pieces. I know there's still gaps here, but they're not asked to be put on yet, so I'm not putting them on. Just going in order by the instructions, particularly all the small parts. So we've got all these boxes here all on. all the way around here is all done. They're all stuck down. These sets all here, and these bits here, right through. The only thing I did miss was two tiny little hatches that go there, one there, one there. That was the only thing. So I've got them sitting on some blue tack on my chopstick here, ready to paint. But I'm not going to get all my brush out and everything and prime and do for those two little ones. I'll do that next time I'll be painting something in the grey, which will be shortly, because I'm going to show you now what we're up to in the instructions. I'll be back in a sec. Okay, so as you can see on the instruction manual, we're up to step 33 now. And we'll put everything on other than those little bits of the fair leads, they're called, that hang over the edge of the deck. So we can't put them until we put the deck on the actual ship itself. So we put them aside and labelled. So what we're up to now is all these mounts for the guns on the side of the ship. We need to take them off the screws, and again, these hang over the deck. All right, so they're like cantilevered over the edge of the deck there, which means we won't be putting them on either till I get the deck down, which I'm going to check through the instructions to see we might even be able to put the deck on. It's just that it's a lot easier working on it on the bench rather than pulling the whole 1.5 metre long ship over here if I've got to do stuff on it. So for as long as I can, I'll keep the deck separate. So we're going to do all these pieces. We've got to get them all off. There's 5 Q2s on each side. Now the inside floor of actually no, they're okay. They'll all be grey. Okay, that's no problem. They'll all be grey, so we can paint them up. These here, I've got a couple of mounts. These, the W11, W10 for both sides. For the larger guns, not sure which sizes, I'll find that out. And then we've got the splinter shields here for more guns down on the deck. These need to be kept in the correct order. And as far as I know, the floor inside those splinter shields are going to be grey, and they're German grey. Well, I say German grey, it's an Imperial Japanese grey. But the close I'm going to have for it, I think, will be a German grey, the XF63. We'll see how that looks and how we're going to go about painting them. All right, so yeah, I'll get these off the sprue and we'll take a look at what needs to be done with them. All right, be back shortly. Hello, welcome back, everybody. All right, so I know a moment ago I said I was going to take all these off the sprue and have a look at what we're going to do. Well, I've jumped ahead and I've certainly taken them off the sprue. I've even painted them and labelled them up. Reason was that I went away for a short holiday for a week, so I needed to catch up for work on this that I wouldn't be able to do while I'm away. So let's have a look at what I did. So Q2 are the parts Q2, and there are 5 of them in here. Actually, there's 10 on each side. They're for the cantilevered bases for the guns that hang over the side. And we'll have a look at these. There they are there, all done in the Imperial Japanese grey outlaw paints. As expected, it went on beautifully. They're all in there, safe till I need to put them on, which will be after, like I mentioned before, after this whole deck is placed on, just for the fact that they do hang over the side. Then we've got Q1 pieces here, and these ones go here, and they're all labelled a little bit differently, I think, if I remember right, or not. No, the Q1s, there's a couple here, and on the next page as well, there's these, and these. They're all here, and as you'll see, they're grey on the inside, okay? And they come up really nice. I actually brush painted the grey. They've got the detail in there of the checker plate, and that just makes it a little bit easier when you're using a brush. It sort of just goes into there. Anyway, they went on really nice. So there's all those with the grey all done. There's quite a few turret bases like this that have that grey inside. All right, so they're in there, the Q1s, and probably be able to put them on certainly before I put the other ones on, but we'll see how we go. And then we've got these ones which we look at here. I can't even read my own writing. They're there, letter M. So these are the M ones, which are M4, M6, M3, M2, that go here. So here they are here. There's M5, M7. They're all labelled on the back, so I didn't get them mixed up, because I remember that I mentioned that they had to stay in order. There they are. They're also done with the, and that's the grey on the inside. The grey I used for that is actually XF63, the German grey. It's a great grey for anything, really. It's beautiful. So that's come up really nice. So again, those in their container and labelled. All right. Now the rest of the stuff in here, I think we've already looked at. Just a few little bits and pieces that go on. There's a ladder that goes down into the stern here where the hangar is. That's painted and ready to go. There's another little piece on there. Again, I've labelled what these are for. So for some reason that's going to go on after. Probably as soon as I pull the hull down, they can go on. We've got these pieces here, which are parts L14. Oh, they're going along the side of the ship. We know about them. And this is some spare photo etch that I took off by mistake, and I've labelled that to make sure it doesn't get mixed up or lost. Okay, done. So where am I at? I need to think about this myself, because I've just got back literally an hour ago, and I'm keen to get back into it. So let me just sort myself out here, and we'll find out where we're heading now. Okay, back in a sec. Okay, so I know what I'm doing now. So basically we want to bring the deck back down here, and we'll put all these M's on, the M5, M7, M4, M6 pieces. They'll go on. A couple of the Q1s will go on. Basically, we'll get all this stuff down the deck other than the ones that hang over the edge, which we can't put on yet. And then we'll go over to step, that's 33, will almost be done. And then 34, again, more of these will go down, including on the deck, on the hull itself, that rear stern deck. That needs some part to go down there. All right, so I'll get set up here. We'll be back in a sec. Hey guys, back here. Just thought I'd mention too that there were some others that I also did earlier. They're the W ones, which are a bit taller mounts for guns that sit. Well, now I should have checked first, but they sit in here. So I prepared them as well. Now I'm just putting these down. You can see I've got two down on now. Because I'm sticking them onto the wooden deck, and they also have pins where the holes are that I drilled earlier, I'm using the extra thin to do inside there, and then of course underneath I'm using the thin CA icky sticky, and I'm just laying that on the bottom and then holding it there and pushing it in place, making sure it sits in flat. It takes 5 seconds and it's stuck. So those two are down. Now I need to do all the Q1s. Oh, that was the Q1s. There's an M5, M7, M4, M6, and there's all these other Q1s here, which will also go a bit further down the deck. Okay. But other than that, they're going well. The holes that I drilled were the right size, which was good. Someone asked me in the comments about how do I know what size drill bits. All the holes are marked out on the bottom. If your drill bit fits in that mark, you know that's the right size. And so far they have been. So if anything, you probably want to go a fraction larger rather than going smaller. just to make sure it's going to sit in there quite easily, particularly with the wood. Because what I'm finding is that I'm having to use an old bent airbrush needle to push up through the hole and twist it, and then do it from the top down and twist it, and then some of the planking comes up a little bit and gets a bit raised, so I go in there with a sharp knife and I just trim it around so that it's all going to sit flat and flush, which it does. It just takes a little bit longer, but that's what you got to do for the better result. Obviously, if you don't have a wood deck and you've just painted your deck, well, that's much simpler then. They should sit down, no problem. All right, I'll keep going and we'll come back with a little bit more progress. Back shortly. Hey, welcome back, everybody. So, what I've done is I've got all the parts painted up that go for step 35. So, we've got these, which I don't know what they're called. Somebody in chat will tell me. All right, there's two of these which sit here. These are also going on to step from 35 to 36. So we've got these parts in here. There's two of them that sit on the stern there. All right, so I've done them. And what I did too, and I hope maybe you can catch it up on, see it on the camera, but I did black primer under there, and then I did it with the grey. And it's given it a bit of more shadow detail, and brought out, make things pop just a little bit more having that black primer underneath. That's what I'm going to do with all the structures along the deck, particularly the guns and turrets and so forth. There's a little vent there that goes on. I've done that. There it is. It's all labelled. It's all painted up. I've just done them in the last half hour. Very hot here today. Won't take long to dry. Then we've got all these parts here, which all go on the stern. Some vents. Platforms there for some guns. Another vent there. So those will go on. And then I did the sandbags on step 35 here. So there's our sandbags. Now they've come up pretty good, eh? I wasn't too sure how I was going to do these. Yeah, they've come up. All I did was just a flat white. I just used flat white. I didn't put it too thick so you can still see the gap between. And I'm sure once I weather these and put a bit of Panaline wash to, make them pop out a little bit more, then they'll look fine. But they look really good as they are, particularly with the primer underneath. They're not too white. I didn't go really heavy on the white. So, yeah, I think they look really good. So they're also drying. So now what we're doing now is that's everything, literally everything for step 35, 36. Then going over the page, we start with 37. Then we have from 37, 38, 39. That completes everything on the deck as far as the instructions are concerned. And then it begins on the main superstructure. And that's what I want to get up to, getting all of this done on this video, hopefully. All right. So in 37, we've got these little parts here. There's two of these little things to build. So they're all numbered. That's number 22, 21. You go over and there's number 21 there. And you go down and that's where that goes. So we got one of those to build. There's bits of photo etch and some ladders to go on that. This one, mate 2, is number 22. So it's this piece here going down there. Again, photo etch, lots of photo etch. In fact, most of this is photo etch. A lot of these are hose reels, as you can see. I haven't yet decided what to put on them to make them look like they're hose reels. I can't have them empty like they are. So I'll have a look at what I got around in my collection of all sorts of stuff and see what can go on them. Further on, after all the hose reels, a couple of anchors. So we've got 2 anchors to make, numbers 27. And going by this, doesn't really show where those go. Oh, here we go, right over on the edge of the page here. 27. So they go right on the bow, both sides. That'll be the anchors. All right, so there is a ladder here that goes into that hangar bay, which I already built that a long time ago. That's in our little box of goodies here to go on. So we'll finally be able to put that on the deck as well. All right, so yeah, I'll get on to this. I'll keep going. We're also going to be putting the anchor chain down in this step 38 as well. We'll see how we go with that. That can be done anytime. Maybe I'll leave that till later. All depends. I'll have to have a look at the deck and see where that chain actually goes and whether or not it can be connected to our actual anchors. Okay, we'll see what happens. But yeah, so I'm going to put all that aside, let it dry, and I'm making a start on all of these now, all these parts. I'll get all the sub-assemblies done, and then we'll put it all down on the deck in one shot. Okay. Once again, I want to thank everybody for their comments below of my videos. Some great tips and advice. There's quite a few of you out there in the process of building this. I want to thank you for giving me a few heads up on issues I might be coming across further down the track. Really good. And yeah, so fantastic, guys. So yeah, don't forget, give us a thumbs up and put your comments down below. I read all your comments, and if you've got any questions about this build, let me know, and I'm open to any suggestions and tips along the way as well. Just keep in mind that when you're seeing the video, I'm usually heading into the next section. So what you've seen is done, and then I'm usually moving on. So yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's no point saying me, oh, you know, why don't you do this and do this? Well, I've already done it. So unless I can, you know, make a change without affecting anything, I would. But in most cases, it's already done. But yeah, please, your comments are really, really welcome. So let me get on with this, and we'll come back and have a look at a bit more progress getting all this stuff done. Okay, back shortly. Okay, welcome back. So I just wanted to quickly show you, I've done this little piece here. This was piece number 21, with the railings on top and the little ladders on the side. Went together no problem at all. I'm working on the next part here, which are two little hose reels. Now, what I find here is a bit tricky. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this easy line. You can buy this, yeah, search, you'll find it. It's really good. There's a fine one. There's also a heavier, darker one as well. But I'm going to use this. I usually use this for rigging. I think it'll be perfect around these reels. But the problem is I can't wrap it around these wheels, like the reel, and then put them on their brackets because they have to be painted. And I don't want to paint this. I want this to be black. So what I've done is, I know it's very small and you can't see, but I've put the photo etch on the outside on the two ends, and then I've just done a quick test fit to make sure I've bent the harness out. So these will sit sort of in there like that. Okay. What I'll do is I'll put them together and I'll squeeze the ends holding them, but I won't glue them. That way I can get them painted. Then after they're painted, take them apart, take these spools out and wrap the easy line around and glue it in there and then put them back in. So that way they'll be grey, IJN grey, and the hose will be the black easy line. A lot of fiddling around, but that's the only way I can think of doing it easily. And that's just two of them. If I go to the instructions, I actually need to make another 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, so there's 12 more of these to make. A lot of fiddling around. But anyway, just thought I'd give that tip if you want to try using an easy line, wrap it around. Hey, I've also got this black cotton as well, but it's sort of frays and doesn't look that good. It sort of looks like cotton, whereas this is a sort of an elasticized thing. I think that's going to look a lot better. The tricky part will be wrapping it around that. But I'll worry about that when I get to it. We'll see how it goes when they're done. Okay, we'll be back in a sec. Hey, welcome back. So let's do a bit of an update here. I'm doing those reels, which I'm found out they're actually rope on these reels on the deck that I'm doing. So what I'm going to do is I'm using this black cotton that came with one of my other ship builds for rigging. And I've got one I've put together and I've wrapped it around. So I've managed to put the spool in there and then twist this around it, and then I've super glued it on, so it's fine. The reason I've done it now, I'm going to have to paint it over the top, and then I'll get a brush and I'll do it a brown color that I want to match with what it was supposed to be like. Is because when it's painted, I wouldn't be able to turn it around because the paint would, stop that from happening. So it would be almost impossible to wrap this around. So I'll be painting them like that. I'll do this as a test, this first one, put it aside. I'll give it a clear coat, then the grey coat, and see how it comes up. And then I'll hand paint this cotton to get that look in there. And they'll do that for every single one. It's going to take a long, long time. These, as you can see, are so tiny. All right. So, I'll get this one done and we'll come back and have a look and see how it turns out. And then I'll start on all the rest. Okay, I'll be back in a sec. Okay, back with an update. So that failed miserably, didn't work. I'll put some photos up. First, a photo of the piece to go together. The second photo is with the cotton. That's all it is, just black cotton wrapped around it, which looks fine, but I need to paint it. And so when I painted it, bang, there you go. Look how that showed up. Looks terrible. So I don't know what to do. So I'm going to be asking you guys for help and tips on what I can put around these reels. Now, there's a lot of them to do. And I looked at my Arizona and I thought, how did I do it on the Arizona? Because the Arizona had a few of them, but they actually have pieces through, like there's more detail in them. They don't have these little thin pieces like empty reels. They've got the detail of the actual rope or whatever it is around there already in the plastic. These you've got to do it yourself. So I don't know what to do, what to use. So if you've got any ideas, let me know. I can't use this. This would not fray and look as bad as that cotton did, but it's too thin. This is this is way too thin. I don't know what to do other than just paint the empty reels black or grey or whatever, brown or whatever colour I want, but it's not going to look any good. Any suggestions? So in the meantime, I'm not going to put all those together. Let me clear things up here and I'll show you where we're at with the instructions. Okay, so these are all the reels here that need to be put together. I'm going to leave them. They can be done anytime in the build. I can drop them down on there when we come up with a solution of some sort. But I can still do the anchors. I can work on the anchors and probably the anchor chain, and then move on to 39, and there's a few pieces that can go on the stern deck here without putting these reels down. So if you've got any suggestions of what to do about that, put them in the comments, and hopefully we'll come up with a solution. All right, so I'll move on and continue working. I'll be back shortly. Okay, so moving on to the anchor chain. This one I haven't even started yet. Still got all the bits of sprue on it. Needs to be cleaned up, but it doesn't take much. They're pretty good nick. So this one's already put together. So the centerpiece just slides up through the anchor, and then there's another little hook that sits on the top there to hold it. So that looks quite good. Now, the anchor chain itself the kit supplied anchor chain is just this piece of gold chain, which is not the best. So unfortunately, the 3D Wild deck that I bought for the other bits and pieces included these two chains here, which are already grey, already the right colour we want. So that's going to save work. And so this will be ready to attach to this. I'll be able to glue the link onto there. I won't be able to thread it through. That won't work. I thought I might be able to, but I can't because it's got these two little pins that go either side and they're too wide to thread through. But that'll be fine. That'll still look good. So I'm going to put the other one together now and then get them painted up. Although there's a couple more pieces I want to get ready to go on the stern. W19, there's two little pieces to go on the back, just so I'm not painting up little bits and then have to redo the airbrush again for more parts. So yeah, so as you can see, there's our anchor chain going on the front, on the stern, on the bow, which I still need to do a bit more work on before the chain can go down. And then you'll see over here they've got, just see in there, there's our anchors sitting in the bottom, which I'm hopefully be able to connect to the chain. We'll see how that goes. The reels, as I said, looking forward to reading your comments and tips on any suggestions on how I'll do those. There's these two pieces here that go down on the deck. This is already done. We did that way long earlier. So I'll get those pieces off now. And then if you have a quick look over the page, probably wouldn't hurt to do that, which I don't think there's, no, see, we're straight on the superstructure after that. So good times ahead. So I'll get these painted. I'll get those other two pieces off ready. I'll get them painted up. Yeah, we'll come back and we'll have the ship back down here, I suppose. Yeah, we'll have to get the ship down on the bench and put some pieces on. Okay, back shortly. Hey, welcome back. So here we are with the deck. And we've got some parts to put on here. Got everything painted up. There's our anchors painted. And there's other two pieces that need to go on here, I think. No, they go down the other end. These pieces. So there's some of these got to go on. They're all painted, all ready to go. So I guess we'll start with the pieces that go on here, which were these ventilating. Well, they've got vents on the front, so I guess they're like air intakes. They sit on here. Just looking at the way I've got this, probably best to turn it around so it's facing the right way. Okay, so the first one, just do a test fit. No problem, that's going to go there. The second one will go there. No problem. And there's a piece to go in there up against the base of the turret support there. That would be this piece number 13, I think. Yes, number 13. That's with the photo etch you put on around that front. So let's try that. And shouldn't be no problem at all. Let me see what else we can put on here. Okay, so we've got the sandbags that need to go on the deck. They go around here somewhere. I just have to widen those holes in there to position them, and we'll get them on. But first I'll glue those ones I just put on there. I'll forget about them. So I'll just touch them on, glue them. I'm back in a sec. Okay, so there's our sandbags down. They come up really nice. Even though I did them white, I undercoated grey underneath, so they're sort of looking like an off-white. And once they're weathered and they've got some panel line to show in between them. They should look really good. Those are stuck down. Now we're doing up here, more up on towards the stern. This is around the water, breakwater. And there's a couple of pieces to go on here. 14, 15, and 16. So we got, there's 14, there's 15, and 16. And they're simply going on top of there. So, not difficult. They can only go one way. The size of the bits for them to sit in. One's smaller, one's bigger. So it's going to go like that. Always test fit everything first. Otherwise, the last thing you want to be doing is struggling with your glue and making a mess, trying to press things down. I always try to test fit first. That goes on like that. That's better. Good. Right, so those will go there. Again, I'll glue them down and be back, and we'll look at what else we need on there. In case you're wondering what glue I'm using, it all depends on what your situation is. Now, for instance, the CA glue, I'm using that on these. I just layered it along the bottom because this is sticking to wood. So I need to make sure that's going to stick properly. I don't want to, there's no point using a thin instant cement, because that's only works on plastic to plastic where it melts together. Other times where I've got this one here, I've only got to put two little spots on there. I mean, I could use CA, but there's no need to because it is plastic. So I'll bring out the Revell contactor, just put a spot on each and pop the top on, no problem. If it's going to be photo etched, then obviously you need CA glue for that. And again, I've got medium. Icky Sticky is the product name. The medium CA, which is a bit thicker and slower drying. Use that most of the time. But there's also a thin one. So if you want to put like a really thin amount, like particularly under the deck that I've been touching up where it was lifting, I'll use this and it'll just go under that deck and spread out underneath easily. All right, but that's also good for really just tiny little places you want to get into. And also I thought I'd mention too, amongst all the painted parts, I realized I've got the rudders in here, and the screw shafts supports. I figured I'd better put them on the hull now, because I'm going to get to a point where I won't be able to get access underneath the ship. At the moment, I can still turn it upside down, but if I was to put this on, then it's going to be awkward to handle. So once we get the actual hull down, after I've done the deck here, we'll be putting them on as well. So I've also noticed that they do clear underneath, so it's not going to any risk of anything getting knocked off. Although the actual screws, propellers themselves, props, whichever you want to call them, they will be done last. Yeah, just pop them on at last thing. All right, so anyway, yeah, so for these, I'll just put simply just tiny little bit of glue on there, bit on there, and like I said, these only go one way, and it's no problem at all. There we go. And I'll do the same with these. Okay, we'll back in a sec. Okay, so the last thing to go on the deck here is this little funnel or air vent. I don't know what you'd call that. And it just goes in here like that. There's the glue on there. Now, I just have to be aware of that. It does stick up higher than everything else, so we don't want to be knocking that off. But it should be all right at this stage when we start to put bigger pieces on. This is the last thing that needs to go on, the wood deck sections. And now I'll be put this up away and bring down the hull itself. All right, we'll be back shortly when I get the bench set up for that. Okay, so here we are with the hull down, looking at the stern deck, and the two pieces we want in step 36 are number 19. These are the ones with the photo etch put together. All right, and they go pretty much, one will go there, spot for it, and one will go there. And they're a little bit tight fit in the hole. Usually happens when you paint things. So I'll just trim those on the edges there, just scrape a little bit off so that they sit in, and they will go in fine. And that's it, because I'd already put all the other parts on earlier before I painted it. It was only these parts that I wanted to put on separately, because I did these with the black Outlaw Paints primer, just to bring up the shadow detail, like I will be doing with most of the things going on here now. So yeah, so I'm going to attach those, and I think then we've got to go over the page, yeah, and head down to the bow of the ship. All right, we'll be back in a sec. And also, before we head down there, I just realized I've got these ones, parts W12. These are from back on step 34, which were gun platforms that go either side here. They were left off because they go above the photo etch, but they're just going to sit pretty much just in there on each side. So I'll attach those. Okay, back again. So yeah, once again, before I go to the bow, we've got a little bit more on the stern here with these two. Remember, I painted these up, and I should have checked where they actually go, because they sit behind these, so they must be like blast shields. One sits there, one sits there. I didn't realize they sit up that way, and I didn't paint the inside of them. So I'll have to go and touch up and paint the inside of these two up before I can put them on. The only other two things were the anchors and this piece here, which I realized joins on the bow, but it crosses over between the wood deck, where the wood deck's on, and the bow starts. I'll slide the ship down and we'll have a closer look. Okay, sliding it down doesn't work because then it would have been hanging off the end of the table. So you'll see in there, so this bit with the little photo etch railing and the ladders on either side sits there, but it sits over, so where the other deck piece will connect on there, it will cross onto that as well. So obviously we can't put that on yet, so that'll get put aside until the main deck goes down. Okay, I'm guessing the next best thing I can do, other than paint those two pieces, is turn the whole thing upside down so we can get our rudders on. All right, so let's do that. Back in a sec. Okay, welcome back. So as you can see here, I've put the rudders on. Sorry I couldn't film doing it because it was quite awkward getting this upside down and positioned correctly. So, but I've got them on, no problems. The supports for these went on for the screws. Come across a problem though. Unfortunately, these ones here, they're pushed in as far as they'll go, and they're sticking out too far. If I was to put the propellers, screws on there, they're going to stick out too far, unfortunately. So I'm going to have to cut these down. I know someone else had this problem, and I can't remember how. I'm sure I checked, but they won't go in any further. These will slide all the way through, no problem at all. I've just got them out the correct length. But these ones, they're all the way in, they won't go in any further. So these are going to have to be cut a little bit there. Other than that, no problem, everything's on. All right, so I'm going to get this back where it's safe, and we'll see what's next on the list of things to do. Back shortly. Okay, we're back down on the bench. Here's our deck. I think I've already shown you most everything's on there that we need to put on there for now. I can't put the deck on because I told you I need to put this piece which joins the deck to the that bow section, which I still need to paint. Unfortunately, there's a delay in the paints coming here with Australia Post. Yeah, they were mailed over a week ago now and still haven't shown up. And I need that to do a lighter coat over that bow section. And then I can start putting all the some pieces on there, including the anchor chain here and our anchors, which are all painted up, ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put all this aside and move on to the next step. Also, just another reminder, all the hose reels that go in here, not hose reels, reels that carry all the ropes. I'm guessing they're mooring ropes. If you've got any ideas, comments, what I can use for that, that would be great. Let me know in the comments. I'm sort of stuck and don't know what to put on those to make them up. Let me get this out of the way and I'll put the instruction manual up here. Okay, so that's all these reels here that sit along here. As you saw, they come empty looking rather than plastic molded reels on there. So I've got to wrap something around these. Please let me know in the comments if you've got any ideas. So we're going to move on, even though we haven't finished. We'll leave that. We'll leave this. I did get those on and painted, so they're done. I put that ladder in. That's done. Okay, and over the page now is beginning step 40 of working on the big superstructure areas. But that will be in the next video, which will be part 11. And also just a reminder for those who don't know, I do a live stream every Friday morning at 6 a.m. Sydney, Australia time. I don't know what time that is around your time of the world, but if you've got, if you're subscribed and you've got notifications for all clicked, you should get notifications about that live stream at least half an hour before I go live. And anybody's welcome to come in and join in the chat. I do tend to talk a bit about the Yamato and give a bit of heads up on things I'm doing that you know, I may be a bit ahead of. You can get a bit of an advanced look at what's to come. But we chat about everything and anything as well. So it's a bit of fun for about an hour. Sometimes it goes a bit longer, but you're welcome to check where your time zone is. I think if you're in the UK, it's not too late at night. Depending where you are in the US, it can be quite an awkward time in the morning. It's very difficult to get a happy medium. But yeah, you're welcome to come along and say hello in the chat on my live stream every Friday at 6 a.m. Sydney, Australia time. All right. Thank you all for watching. I'll move on and get all prepared up now for making the next video. Look forward to your help and comments on what to do with these. And please, if you haven't already, please subscribe. Hit that thumbs up, like button. All helps the algorithm. And oh yeah, and I'll see you all in the next video. Okay. All right. Cheers all. Bye for now.